Ooh, this John Vintage Fisherman. Today I'm not very vintage. Well, I feel vintage. I'm not. This is a Sienna. It's not new by any means. Good little smallmouth slash trout slash panfish reel. I like these things. I got a few. This is the 500 size. Yeah, it's a 500 FD, which means FD means front drag. Picked this up at the flea market. Actually, I did a trade for it. One of my friends was there, and he was selling this, and he wanted my Wally Marshall Bass Pro Shops. Whoa. He's had some lines stuck up under that. This was one of his reels he used on his YouTube channel. That's rod and hand fishing. Whoa, no wonder that thing's not running right. So we made a deal. She's just dirty and got line hung up on it. Gonna be a nice little reel when I get it done. This is the kind of reel I would carry in my car. My Jeep, I mean, I don't drive a car. I carry this in my Jeep or my truck on maybe not the most expensive rod, maybe something like a Shakespeare Micro light rod or something like that. Something that I can get my trash can over here. Something if it gets broke or whatever in the car, it's not the end of mankind, you know what I mean? Just a decent cheap little reel. And yeah, this bad boy is I'm gonna have to get it apart to get that line off of it. I don't know if you can see all that line stuck on there or not. Daggum, Cody. Anyway, let's fix it. Oh boy, it's on there tight. Let's see if I can do this without tearing it up. There we go. These are decent reels. Shimano in general is a good reel. I don't like working on them, but brand new out of the box, they are smooth and they're just very complicated. But this one, I've had mine apart. It's not too bad. I've got one of these, maybe two of these. So we're going to fix it. If I sound groggy this morning, I am. I've not had my coffee. I'm fasting for blood work. Lucky me. Okay, so to get this off, I have to remove. I always have to remember this about these reels. Oh, goodness. This all has to come off. There we go. Now, that line can come off anyway. Look at that ball line. I don't know how this reel worked. I really don't. So these, it had two shims with that. I gotta take this off. You can't get the cover off these reels without removing the rotor. The rotor nut is left hand on these reels. There's everything with that. Okay, nothing's stuck under there. I'm not gonna take the anti-reverse apart. I'll probably lubricate it, but I'm not gonna take it apart. But to get this reel apart, you have to take the rotor off of it. I will probably remove the anti-reverse, but I'm not going to take it apart. We'll see. There's the collar. I believe it goes in like that. having a little bit of trouble getting this thing to separate. Am I missing? Oh, yeah, I am missing something. There's another screw. All right, there's your cover, and the bearing just fell out of it. We'll lubricate those. All right, your level line here. I might be able to pull that. Yeah, that gear will come out without removing. And I think there's a shim on that gear. There is. So there's another bearing. There is a screw hidden underneath some grease. So what we call this? We can't call it vintage reel repair, can we? I guess we would call this reel repair, for lack of a better term. You got these two slides in there, there's two little posts. I think this one just kind of pops up with the actual cross wind, so those two go together. See what I mean about complicated? Yeah. And these gears have to be timed right, because that's a square gear, and that's an oval gear. But you see how they work? They work perfectly together. Yeah, I know. Thank you, Shimano, for making that harder than it needs to be. So we'll clean that up. We'll hopefully get that time back in there right. I believe that bearing's being retained by this. I'm afraid if I take those three screws out, the whole thing's going to come apart, and I really don't want that to happen because there's some little springs down in there. We'll see what happens here. The Wally Marshall crappie stick that I traded was a really nice rod. Bass Pro Shops rod. I'll clean that just like that. I don't even want to take that apart. So this will just come out, and then I can clean the body. So we got that apart. I'll clean those bearings. Now let's see what kind of crazy stuff we got going on over here. So, okay, this is very simple. The got a rod there that kicks that back. Let's look and see how this is made right here. It's got some mud in it. I carry in my truck. I carry 4 rods, 2 ultralight, 2 mediums. Right there, it goes in there. That goes up inside of there. This is a bushing. The bushing goes in like that, the shoulder up, and that is that. This side over here is just the dummy side, just goes back and forth. There's nothing up under that. I'll take this off just to clean it a little better. Over here, let's take this off. There's going to be a bell spring, of course. It's just a push pull type bell spring. These are fun to set sometimes. Pay attention when you take this out how it wants to go to like a neutral state. It's like that. So when I put it in, I'll give reverse order on that. That's pretty gummy. Then here's your rod that throws the, and that stays in there. It's glued in. So we'll leave that alone. Yeah, that's the whole reel. I'll clean it up and we'll get me a nice little Sienna out of this thing. Yeah, these are nice, smooth little reels. All right, I'll be back. Well, I'm back. I've got this old Sienna. No, it's not old. It's fairly old. Got it back together. So, let's make it work. Let's put it all together and make it run. Put just a little bit of grease. We'll start out with the rotor. And I didn't see anything wrong with this reel. It's in good shape. We'll take that grease and spread it around in there just a little bit. It has this rod. Let's see if I can tell which way it went. I think it's like that. Yeah. So it goes like that. And then you've also got your bell spring that goes in and occupies almost the same space. And we'll leave it just like that for a second. Yeah, might have to figure that out a little bit better. I knew the bell spring was going to be problems on this one. I just knew it. If this thing flies, it's gone. I don't understand how that got that far off. Well, heck. Let's just see if we can't make this thing force it back into its place. There we go. And I'm going to stick that screw in there before it's too late. I know these things too well. But you have to there's a hole in this arm that you got to push into the bell spring and then move it. And then it'll hey, that was slick. See what I said? I know how it's going to go. It's going to fly apart. Yeah, it did. I get to show you again. There's a hole right there in the bell arm. You put it into that black piece and you rotate this thing around. And it'll stay in there. Trust me on this. Now, find my screw. Let's get the screw in there before it flies apart again. There's not a whole lot holding it there. All right. And you see how it actuates and it pushes this pin out. Just like that. And you got a cover that goes on there. So we'll go ahead and get that on. It doesn't seem to want to be. Maybe I got the wrong cover. There's two of them. There we go. Yeah, look at that. And you'll have a small screw, like a wood screw, for lack of a better term. A sheet metal screw will go in there. Okay, so when you throw the bell, it pushes that pin back, and that's what trips the bell back out. Okay, now on this side, you simply goes on there. So I need to put the cover on first. Let's go ahead and do that. It took me a minute there. I had to look at that. I was like, what did I do here? Okay. Where am I at? Who's on second? All right, let's put this on there. And we'll put a little bit of grease. I'm using the lightning lube from Boca on this reel. I think it's a better choice for this little reel. You got another sheet metal screw or whatever you want to call it. Looks like a wood screw to me without the point. Put that on there. And then over here, you have this bushing will go on with some oil. A little bit of lightning lube on that oil. And that will go on there. And then your line winder goes on. And it does make a difference. It goes on the beveled side, goes towards the bail arm. Okay? Like that. And then it had this washer up in there, and then you kind of got to hold it all together and put this screw in there. And that is a sheet metal screw, or a machine screw. There. It's a little stiff. Put a little bit of oil on these screws. That'll help it. Yeah, there we go. All right, so there's the rotor. Done. We're going to put the pinion bearing in it. Pinion bearing. We'll give it a little bit of grease down in there. And put a little too much, so we'll get some of that back. That goes in like that. Now your anti-reverse bearing, it will only go one way. There's two pins. You could put that on there and line those pins up. Sometimes you got to throw this switch. You line those pins up and put the 3 screws in it. I use oil on these anti-reverse, on the Shimanos. On the Ambassadors, you can get by with grease. They're a little bit different, but these I always use oil in the bearing part of it. Just a little bit. It doesn't take much. Just enough for it slick. It makes it slick. Does that make sense? Okay. There we go. Now we got the anti-reverse on it. And if you want to check it out, you can put your sleeve in there after you put a little bit of oil on it. Just a little drop. You put that sleeve in there. And then that turns into a anti-reverse bearing. It feels a little crunchy, but I just put it all back together. So, all right. Next, handle shaft bearing. Go ahead and put that in there. Okay. Now here's the part that gets a little bit tricky. You got to time this. You got this gear with a oval shaped gear on it. I mean, Shimano, come on. But anyway, they must know more than me, right? The oval needs to be at an angle. And then you're going to put, let go of me. You're going to put this gear in where the point of it, if you don't do it right, I don't think it'll function, actually. Yeah, there we go. We got it. You see how it's working there? All right. We'll put some grease on that. Okay. Now this piece here, this is your crosswind. it's got this. On the lower end, it's got this pin, and it goes in. You got to put it in. There's a little step on it. Goes towards the rotor, and it will go in there and lock into there. And this is tricky here. Listen to me. That pin right there, you need to rotate it around and then slide this in onto that peg. There's a groove on the bottom side of this. Let me flip that back so you can see it. Oops, I'm going to pull the dang gear out of it. That's not good. You see that little groove? That's got to go right there on that. And then this pin actually goes through with the step going back away from the rotor. You'll push it through right there and all the way back to there. And there's your crosswind all done. And I'm going to rotate it. I'm going to rotate that crosswind to where it's all the way back. Like that. Okay. Now your gear has a shim. It went on this side of it, on the handle side. Well, to me it'd be the handle side. If you crank with your left, it would not be the handle side. We'll put some grease in here. We'll put some grease on the pinion. Might as well put a little bit of grease on there. You can go ahead and put your gear in there. Okay. And that's an old line laying there. On your handle cover, which needs to go on before your rotor. Can't put it on just yet though. We got to put the shaft in, the axle shaft. It just roll it up a little bit, slide it in there. A little bit hard to see. In fact, yeah, I have to put this in just a little bit later. Hang on just a second. You can't get to this screw. That thing's got some dirt on it or something. There we go. So this goes in there like that, but you're going to have to kind of finagle it a little bit. There. Then this little tiny countersunk screw goes in there. Don't lose that. You'll never find one at the hardware store that size. That's teeny tiny. Then you can put your gear back in. Okay. It will fit. And cover with your bearing. Don't forget your bearing. All right, that pin has decided to slide all the way back. Slide it back forward. And there it goes. It's all together. All three of those screws are the same length, so we're just going to put them back in there. There was two on this side and one from the other side. What a simple little reel for a Shimano. I like these. The smaller they are, it seems like the better they are. I'm getting ready to do a bait runner. I will probably take some anxiety medicine or something before I start. I'm just kidding. No, they're really not that bad. But the first time I ever did a bait runner, I was scared to death. Now, Shimano, on their upper end reels, they make them very serviceable. You have a screw right there you can take out to lubricate the main gear. So that's kind of cool. Not gonna lie. Thank you, Shimano, for that. It's pretty oily, so I'm gonna wipe it off a little bit. This white piece right here is a little bit fragile. It's got a really thin edge on it. This is what trips the bail back to the closed position. And so you don't want to break that, okay? Now the reel's almost done. So we're going to go ahead and put the rotor back on it. Look around, make sure I'm not missing anything. I got everything. We'll put the rotor on. So you have to put your axle shaft in even before you put the main gear in on this reel. It makes it a little different. This has got reverse threads, I believe. Yes. I remember that now. You could use a deep well socket, but you don't want to tighten this up. This is a small little reel. You don't want to tighten this up real tight. Just a few inch-pounds, folks. Look at that. It's not going to get loose on you. It shouldn't. We'll give it just a hair bit more. Then you have your little bait line out clicker goes on, and your 2 spool shims. Or washers, whatever you want to call them. These are so that you can adjust your spool, how the line's laying on your spool. And this has been adjusted from the factory. I'm sure they got a way of doing that. So I'm going to push them down on there with the spool, just like that. So you see how they are. Okay. Then the last thing is I've already put line on it. I put some 2 pound on there. I need to write that on there. This is what I do, folks. On skirted spool reels, somewhere on your skirt, just write 2. I know I got 2 pound test on it. I've got so many, I've got 500 reels here. So I'll never remember tomorrow what I put on it today. All right, the drag on this is really simple. They use grease. I'm going to use cows on it. But Shimano uses grease. I had this question today. A guy sent me a message saying he used cow's grease on one of his bait casters and can't get enough drag on it. He must have. Only thing I got to say is I've never had that. I've never experienced that problem. I tried to answer him back, and YouTube won't let me reply back but a couple of times to each question that I get. And so I could not help the fella. And I may do a video on it, but if you over grease these things, you will never get drag out of them. It's gotta be just a little light. When you pull your thumb back, you should just see your fingerprints. That's all you should see. And then you got your hard washer. It goes back in there. And this is getting ready to fly on me, I can tell. There it goes. And the Shimano's, I believe no, it maybe not. Some of them, the spool, the drag knob pops in. This one doesn't. So we're going to put that on there. Okay, we'll wipe it down good. It's pretty oily. It just is what it is. But it's smooth. It's so smooth. Look at that. All right, yeah, it's perfect. Let's put the handle on it. We'll give it just a little drop of grease or oil right there. I think I found a rod somewhere for this thing, or I may switch out another reel that I'm ready to retire. I've used for a couple years or whatever, and just want to go to something else. But like I said, I think I got 3 of these Sienna 500s now. Identical reels, so they're probably from the same era, because Shimano will change colors or graphics or something to when they change a model a little bit. But a lot of oil all over it. I gotta wipe all that off, and I'll let these things sit for a few days and then wipe them off again before I actually go fishing. If not, I'll never catch a fish. There'll be so much oil running out of them. But you got to get them lubricated, folks. You can't put it together dry. So it's going to have some oil out of it. So first time getting out there on the water, maybe you might have a little bit of hard time catching a fish if you're handling your baits a lot, Once you break it in a little bit, it's not too bad. And so that is it. That is a Shimano Sienna 500. That's how you would take it apart, put it back together. I may have a video already on these, but I don't know. But look how smooth. Golly. Nope. Whoop. Yeah, I talk about how smooth it is, and I locked it up against the ramp. There we go. Yeah, if you do that, if you're fishing and you do this and you reel it around right there, it's not going to flip. Flip it by hand. Well, so give it a good spin, sling all that oil off of it. Look at that. Thanks for watching. This isn't vintage, but it is still pretty old. I don't know how old this reel is, but appreciate the trade I made with my friend Cody. Hope he enjoys his Wally Marshall crappie rod. It's a good one. It's a Bass Pro Shops rod, Signature Series. And I'm going to really enjoy this on a creek. I hope I catch like a 2 or 3 pound smallmouth on that. It'd be a fight, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it be a fight? This reel is officially made for 2, 4, and 6 pound tests. I started to put 4 on it, but I had 2 already in the line winding machine. So that's what she got. Look at that. Wow, that's smooth. I'm going to enjoy this reel. Y'all have a good day. Take a kid fishing. Pick up an old reel, fix it up, put it on a new rod, and go out and fish with it. Or an old rod if that's what you choose to do. And have fun. Fishing's fun. Don't make it a competition. I fish tournaments. It sucks. I don't like it at all. Just go out and have fun with fishing. Take somebody with you that's never been fishing before. Get them introduced to the sport. Get them hooked. That's really fun. It's really fun to see somebody hook a fish for the first time in their life. And man, it's rewarding. So go out and have fun. This is John. Please subscribe, like the video, and catch you on the next one.